Hey there, guys. Welcome back to Urban Odyssey. This is a presentation that I've wanted to do for a while. I think it really is needed because it explains the nature of all of the evil and the chaos that we're seeing in the world today. So this presentation is titled Lucifer is a Schizophrenic. And I encourage you to hold on and hear me out because I think it makes a lot of sense. So, without further ado, let's get started. The word Lucifer in Latin means light bringer, which most of you know. In Hebrew, before the fall, he was called Hillel, which means the bringer of light of God. And after the fall, having lost the of God or El suffix, he became Hell. Similar enough to any of us, a brilliant person on top of the world who also rapidly falls from grace will surely have quite the adjustment period. The book of Job immediately comes to mind. Let's take, for example, someone who's rich, like let's say Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk. If they woke up one day and everything they had was gone, I think they would have a very hard time trying to adjust to that. If you wake up one morning and all your servants and cars and stuff are gone, then you would have some problems. You really wouldn't know what to do with yourself. In the same way, Lucifer, a brilliant angel of light and a masterful praise singer in heaven, having fallen so far from grace, grows increasingly schizophrenic in a vain attempt to reconcile two fundamentally different roles. That is the key here. This is a kind of a split, multiple personality disorder, if you will. What we're about to look at next is this term from the Bible, double-minded. And this is a list of over 100 different verses about double-mindedness. And I'll put that link in the description for you guys. But double-minded refers to a significant psychological split originating from the Greek word, let's see if I can pronounce this right, disukos, I think that's how you say it, disukos or disukos. That translates to two minds or two souls. And if you know what schizophrenia means, it means split mind, schizophrenia. This condition leads to a constant instability and failure, rendering the individual ineffective in spiritual matters. That's an important idea, ineffective in spiritual matters. The definition: a double-minded person is inherently unstable in all aspects of life. This internal conflict results in spiritual impotence. One who wavers should not let that man think that he shall receive anything of the Lord, meaning one who wavers, one who, as we're about to see, this is connected to the topic of better to be either fully hot or fully cold, but you don't want to be lukewarm. Same idea. It reflects a divided heart, attempting to serve both God and mammon simultaneously. Compared to schizophrenia, the concept of double-mindedness mirrors multiple personality disorder, where multiple identities affect behavior. This instability resonates with the Pythagorean view of psychic disturbance, which occurs when the components of the soul, rational, spirited, and desirous diverge, resulting in dissociation and fragmentation, the essence of duality, where opposites are fundamentally identical but differ in degree, as examples, hot and cold, light and darkness. It is a fundamental principle. However, failure to navigate this polarity can lead to spiritual downfall. On the same note, as I mentioned, lukewarmness, this is the same idea. Lukewarmness has double allegiance. Half-hearted Christians who possess a divided heart are characterized as lukewarm. This tepid, non-committal existence mocks the sacred, as they may have Jesus in their mouth, but sin in their heart, pretending holiness while pursuing wickedness. Spiritual repugnance. The lukewarm state is worse than outright unbelief. Lukewarm individuals are offensive to Christ, who warns the Laodicenses that because they are neither hot nor cold, active commitment nor active rejection, he will spew thee out of my mouth. This physical metaphor of violent ejection underscores the utter repugnance of spiritual complacency and double dealing. This is important. Satanic alliance. The double-minded and half-hearted are explicitly identified as Satan's best allies. Their inability to maintain allegiance to truth means they choose the darkness of error and satanic delusion. Lukewarm people mock his cross with every sin they excuse. So now that we've established that foundation, we're going to look now at why Lucifer / Satan is a schizophrenic. I posit that Lucifer and Satan are the same person or same entity, albeit with two personalities, one as Lucifer and the other as Satan, as a result of the fall. Schizophrenic adversary. Lucifer, also known as Satan, is repeatedly described as a schizophrenic being. He is the, quote, chief head and alpha dog, unquote, of the demonic apparatus. That means the top of the pyramid. And this chaotic mental state is the source of his profound inability to live in truth. This psychological fracturing defines his existence and strategy. As we probably already know, many of you, the formula of inversion, Satan's primary weapon is inversion, flipping the image of righteousness in reverse, making dark seem light and bringing heaven down to earth. There's a term in Judaism or Zionism, tikkun olam. It's this idea of bringing heaven down to earth. And other religions, I'm sure, do have their own form of it. This duality is perfectly perfected in his self-presentation. He transforms himself into an angel of light, a calculated lie rooted in his pre-fall glory as the shining one or the light bearer, Lucifer. That's what that means. So the first personality being the bearer of light, Lucifer, and after the fall, the root of the split, Satan's original sin was the desire for divine power without divine character. His arrogance, articulated in the 5 I wills of Isaiah 14, led to his self-exaltation and subsequent fall. His name, Satan, which means adversary or enemy, a title he reportedly dislikes because it reveals too much about him and his motives. This tension between his desired title, light bearer, and his true function, enemy, encapsulates his inherent schizophrenia and double-minded nature. He hates seeing the face of God when he looks in the mirror. The schizophrenia of the archdemon. He's a pathological liar. Lucifer is an inherent liar who can't live in truth, making his promises hollow. His goal is to instill lies and deception, mirroring his instability. He loves chaos, not order. He loves chaos, ensuring any offered peace is fake. His preference for disorder, or schizophrenic madness, keeps the soul unrestful, fueling his power. He's only got limited influence. He is not all-powerful. He only gains power through influence. This is very important. Only gains power through influence because he has no power to create anything new. As we know, there's nothing new under the sun, and because of that, and because he does not have the ability to create anything on his own, he can only influence us to give up our ability to create. This is a parasitic dynamic. I'll say that again. This is a parasitic dynamic. If a person is unable to create something, they can parasite off of what other people create. And as such, if we humans made in the image of God with the Spirit of God, God's breath, have the ability to create as we're made in the image of God, we also have the ability to create on a smaller level. But those who cannot create, or those who do not have the breath of God, act as parasites. Aware of his defeat, this is very important. His fatal flaw is at his predetermined end. He is destined to lose and be completely destroyed. He does know this inescapable fate, but he hides it from his followers. So, with that being said, let's take a look at what he's been up to over the course of human history. What has Lucifer, Satan, been up to over the course of history? Well, let's see, 609 to 539 BCE. He attempted to set up a one-world government in Babylon. That failed. Definitely failed. The tower. It's a reoccurring symbol. The tower out of the tarot deck. The tower is symbolic of the Tower of Babel. It is the idea that the tower can be built, but it always comes crashing down. And so Babylon was the head of gold from Daniel's prophecy. So that was 609 to 539 BCE. Let's see. After that, rest assured, he attempted another one world government in Medo-Persia, 539 to 331 BCE. That also failed. That was the chest of silver. There's the tower card again. Well, rest assured, no big deal. 331 to 146. Attempted to set up a one world government in Greece. Anyone have any ideas what happened? It failed. Let's see, 331 to 146. The Greek Empire, one world empire, failed miserably. That was the thighs of bronze. And there's the tower card. But even though Greece fell, no big deal, because 146 BCE to 476 AD, he tried to set up a one world government in Rome. And that failed. That failed. And that was the legs of iron. There's the tower card again. Lightning always strikes the tower and it comes crumbling down. That's one thing we can be sure of, because there is nothing new under the sun.
The terrible irony is that these divisions have been set up by the occult so that when we are at last exhausted by it all, they believe that we will reach out to them for peace. There is no such thing as a Luciferian peace. Because, wait for it, Lucifer is schizophrenic. This is so important for you to understand. And so, if we are stupid enough to embrace his form of one-world Zion communism, we will just discover what the ancient Assyrians, Babylonians, Medo-Persians, Greeks, Romans, and everyone else who's tried it has discovered when they tried to bring the world under one thumb with one king, Lucifer. It will never work with a schizophrenic.
Since that time, 538 AD to 1798 AD, that's exactly 1,260 years. So here are some key events that have happened since the fall of Rome. 538 AD, the Emperor Justinian establishes the Pope's role as the corrector of heresies. May 1st, 1776, Jesuit professor Adam Weishaupt establishes the Bavarian Illuminati. July 4th, 1776, the United States declares independence from Great Britain. February 10th, 1798, exactly 1,260 years later, the Pope is taken captive and the papacy is removed from power by the French general Louis Alexandre Berthier. I hope I pronounced that right. Well, and since then, this is what we're up to. Same thing. And so it's schizophrenic in the rawest sense of the word, because what do you have when you do the same thing over and over again and you expect a different result? It's definitely going to work this time, guys. Just remember, it will definitely work this time.
In the Matrix, there's an artificial reality and people are being harvested for their body heat in a real world. Their body is being used for what is important, and they just distract their mind so that their body can stay alive long enough to give the machines what they want.
The human body generates more bioelectricity than a 120-volt battery and over 25,000 BTUs of body heat. The machines had found all the energy they would ever need.
The Matrix is a computer-generated dream world, built to keep us under control in order to change a human being into this.
AI, it's called the singularity for a reason, because you don't know what's going to happen. It's like a black hole. You go in the black hole, what happens? I don't know. We're on the AI singularity event horizon, circling the black hole.
We're all stars, alright? Young children we call youngsters. Our sisters we call spinsters. Good people we call masters. Bad people we call fraudsters, gangsters and mobsters. Religious people, ministers and pastors. Cool people in Hollywood we call rock stars, movie stars, superstars. Stars. We're all stars.
So, what is the ultimate goal here? It's for us to be complicit, for us to consent to our own destruction. Lucifer's ultimate goal, hidden beneath his much speaking, is to secure explicit consent for humanity's damnation. He aims to reshape a person to knowingly and openly choose evil. This is called the unforgivable sin, the denial of the Holy Ghost. Denying the Holy Ghost, this is the highest damnation. It involves proclaiming a willingness to betray and crucify the Son of God a second time. This is called taking the 30 pieces, or choosing Barabbas. Inescapable defeat. Lucifer knows that he is going to lose the ultimate battle. However, he doesn't want you or his own to know that he knows. His much speaking serves to distract from this inevitable defeat, to draw as many souls as possible into his self-destructive vortex before his final annihilation, because misery loves company. Always remember that. Misery loves company. And so Lucifer knows he's going to lose, but because of that, misery loves company. And so if other people lose with him, he doesn't have to be there alone. And so that's the big secret. The idea behind the denial of the Holy Ghost, this is something we're saying. The unforgivable sin is not unforgivable because of anger or punishment. You know, God's not just like, I hate you, I don't want to make you suffer, etc. It's not that way. It is the unforgivable sin because if you choose Barabbas, if you know the truth, or you know what is right, but you still choose to not go that way. You know, I know the truth, but I don't care. It's quite literally that you've reasoned yourself out of salvation, because if the only thing you need to do for salvation is to ask for it, to say, I am a flawed human who needs forgiveness. If a person doesn't think they've ever done anything wrong, then why would they ask for forgiveness? There's somebody who said, why would I ask for forgiveness if I've done nothing wrong? That was Trump. Trump said that. Why would I ask for forgiveness if I've done nothing wrong? And so it's unforgivable, because if you truly inside yourself don't think you've done anything wrong, if you don't think you've ever sinned, then why would you ask for forgiveness? And if asking for forgiveness is the only thing you need to do, see, you've reasoned yourself out of of salvation. That's why it's unforgivable.
The occult is run by intelligent nutjobs who follow the schizophrenic orders of their schizophrenic master. If you try and make logical sense of all of their plans, you will quickly discover that they don't make any sense in combination. So we must stress again. Lucifer knows that he is going to lose the ultimate battle, but he doesn't want you or his own to know he knows, until he can get you and them to knowingly and openly consent to the re-crucifixion of the Messiah. At the top, they know their ultimate reward. We will discuss that later. While the majority of Christians do not see their wearing of crosses in this light, Lucifer does believe that his exalting of the cross will ultimately result in the Lord's re-crucifixion.
The ancient concept of happiness. True happiness was anciently understood as what happens when one's life unfolds naturally, according to their design in God's creation. Satan's primary trick is to create false mythologies and lies that cause people to chase illusions, ensuring that they can never be happy and will then blame God for their misery. And that is much the same idea. If Satan is able to convince you to ruin your life, or for you to allow somebody else to ruin your life, and then is able to get you to blame it all on God, well, then we're back to, you've reasoned yourself out of salvation. Because if you just need to ask for salvation and you don't think you need it, or you don't want to ask God for salvation because you blame God for your misery, well, then you're never going to get it. And see, it's that trick there that it's not necessarily punishment out of anger, it's damnation. That's the second, damnation. One's life is destined to be like a mighty flowing river, increasing in strength and goodness over time. This is why Christ is connected to water symbolically. To stop up one's mighty flowing river of Christ is to effectively dam it, to stop progression. And so this double-mindedness, this schizophrenia, this idea of doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you're going in a circle and you're going around and around, you're not going anywhere. You're just looping around the same spot. And so damnation, to stop progression. This is something that I saw in one of my feeds, and I thought it was an interesting point here. I don't believe this is the origin of the Catholic cross symbol. I don't believe that this is where it came from, but it fit the theme of this presentation. So the Antichrist consciousness is the idea that you're cutting the connection between your brain and your heart, which is that split, that severing, that that double-minded. And so it kind of works well here at the end of this presentation, but obviously I don't think this is like where the symbol came from. So the conclusion here, in essence, the entire structure of Luciferianism, from the archdemon to his human pawns, is a chaotic, self-defeating paradox built on lies and fear, driven by a schizophrenic will and ultimately destined for destruction. Its greatest flaw is its own inherent nature. It is a house built on dust, constantly under siege by the very chaos it seeks to propagate, and perpetually broadcasting the blueprint for its own undoing. The truth, shouted from the rooftops, shatters its illusion. That's the truth. True light exposes darkness, as opposed to fake light, which blinds you. And so, true light exposes darkness, and that's really what I believe our duty to be as Christians in the year 2025, in this modern time. I think all we can really do is expose evil deeds and darkness. That's the holy promise of St. Luke, Luke 12:3. Wherefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness, it shall be heard in the light. and that which ye have spoken in the ear in secret places shall be preached on the houses. And so the difference between the false light and the real light is that false light blinds you, while true light exposes darkness. And so before Christ can really return, all the secrets have to come out. All the secrets have to be shouted from the rooftop. And so, as opposed to building a third temple, why don't we just expose all of the secrets? And then Jesus will show up real fast. All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciated everyone tuning in for this quick presentation. I'm going to leave links and stuff in the description, and I encourage you guys to read into those because there's more information along these lines. This was just designed to be kind of a short summary of that information, but thank you. If you guys like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe as it really helps me out a lot. Thank you, guys.